Yo, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to the next installment of Corey's Questions. This is the first time you ever watched this. I'm Corey. This is Gilbert. And, sorry also if you've watched every single one and you hear me say the same thing over and over. But basically, these last few months, I've been getting a lot stronger in my faith, doing a lot more reading and studying of the Word, the Bible. And with that comes a lot of questions. And this has been my guy. He's also a fellow poker player that we met a few years ago. And I just sent the messages on Facebook and it turned into conversations, and then he had the idea of recording it and just letting you guys kind of be a spectator, essentially, of these conversations, because I know, or I would assume that some of you guys are going to have the same ones that I've been having. So my next question, last night, I was reading this book, Driven by Eternity, which I have been reading. It's an amazing book written by John Bevere, and he was talking about heaven, and I had some questions come up while reading about heaven because I really only read the first few pages. I actually fell asleep reading it, and I was like, that would probably be a great question for today. So, what is heaven going to be like? Like, does the Bible give us any hints or clues? I know, no one actually knows. There's some stories of people that died and went to heaven and they come back. I know I've seen videos like that, but I think I might have heard you say this, but I did feel like we're just going to be floating around on clouds, playing harps and just chilling, Yeah, so what, is heaven a physical place? Or are we going to have purpose there? Is it going to be kind of a new, well, I'm not just let you finish because I really don't know, but what is heaven going to be like?
Right. So your thought, that misconception is a lot of people are like, I don't want to go there. It sounds like it's boring. I just want a cloud playing a harp, drinking, your lemonade or whatever. But heaven will be the Garden of Eden restored, essentially. So before Adam and Eve sinned, God had placed them in this beautiful garden. He has a relationship with them. They had purpose. They were, everything was great. And then, of course, sin brought destruction and death and hard labor to us, the pain of childbirth for women. And so heaven and anything that you can think of is what the absolute best paradise would be, what heaven could possibly be. Take that and multiply it by, thousands and thousands, and then you're still billions of images short of what it's actually going to be. So Paul at one point, he actually talked about that no eye has seen, no mind has conceived, no ear has heard what God has in store for us. And so it's just going to be this absolutely fantastic place that is free of sin and suffering and disease and death and all the things that so much weigh us down here on the earth. Every relationship will be perfect between one another. And it'll just be this fantastic place of love for one another, but then there's still going to be work. A lot of people think of work as hard and burdensome, but
you still have a job, you mean?
Some sort of job to do. But it's not going to be, a lot of times now people, they live for the weekend and it's just they're just doing the job just to get by. And it's it's Monday, I got to go into the job and stuff. But imagine if every day you woke up and you were super excited about what you get to do. Well, that's going to be what we are able to experience in heaven. There will be purpose for. So at the end of all time, so when we die right now, we'll either go immediately to heaven or to hell, based not on our good works, we talked about it in other videos, based on what did you do with Jesus. Did you accept his offer of forgiveness or not? And real quick, I'll just reiterate, God does not send anybody to hell. Somebody ends up in hell, it's because they chose to go there, because they rejected Jesus' offer of forgiveness. But we'll go to heaven, but then at the end of all time, and we don't know when that is. Obviously, right now, everyone's like, "Oh, this is the end of the world," and all that. Jesus says that no man knows the day or the hour that he will return. So it could happen in the next 10 minutes. It could happen in the next 10,000 years. We don't know that. But whenever it does come, then a lot of the things, the weird stuff in the book of Revelation and everything, all those things will come to pass. And one of the things God says is at that time, I'm going to create a new heaven and a new earth. So there will be a new earth that will basically become our heaven, a new earth.
Oh, so we're not going to essentially be in the clouds. We'll be up there. It's going to be like a physical place.
Well, and even heaven is a physical place. So he says he'll create an even upgraded version of this earth and of the current heaven. So again, what the current heaven is like beyond what our minds can conceive. But he says, I'm actually going to create something even better than that.
I remember you showing me pictures of his favorite place, Costa Rica, and you were showing. I was like, this looks gorgeous, and think about that on steroids. I guess, but even past that, you can't even fathom it. Well, I don't know if you were finished with that thought, but something that came to my mind when you said that there would be perfect relationships and no sin, no disease. You can't have the highs without the lows, right? So if you're not, I know this is maybe a earthly, like now way of thinking, and maybe that will be changed when we get to heaven. But like, if everything is perfect, how? And I don't even know the best way to word this. How will it always be good if we don't ever experience bad up there? Is there not going to be any hardships up there? Are we never going to like cut our finger whenever we're working, or hit our thumb with the hammer if we're
all the bad you experience with them here on earth? So you'll have that perspective.
Oh, we'll have okay. So we have that perspective, and every day it's just like, wow, I don't have to worry about this. Right. Wow, so I can maybe eat meat when I get up there because I can eat meat without having to worry about any kind of heart issues. Wow.
And that actually, as you said that made me think of something. So, one of the questions that people often have is, well, why does God allow suffering? Here on earth. Well, suffering is a result of sin. And so it's because of our sinful attitudes and actions that suffering even became a part of the human existence. But God's plan ultimately is to take care of suffering forever. And that's part of what Jesus does there on the cross, is he makes a way available for us to go to heaven so that we can be in a place that there is no suffering anymore. And so the way I always think of it is this way. It's like, imagine like on January 1st of 2021, you have a miserable day. I mean, everything in Corey's mind that could go wrong does go wrong that day. I mean, like the worst thing you've ever had, right? But then let's say the rest of the year, the other 364 days are like almost completely perfect. And you say, these are the best days of my life that I've ever had. If then at the end of 2021 or the first day of 2022, somebody said to you, Corey, how was your year? And you go, man, it was fantastic. And they're like, well, wait a second. I thought the first day of the year was really bad. And you're like, oh yeah, it was a really bad day. But when I compare it then to the 364 other days that were like just great, I almost have forgotten about it. It almost pales in comparison. Yes, it was a bad day, but wow, all these other days have been fantastic. So now think about this from a heavenly perspective. For those of us that followers of Jesus and we end up in heaven, when you've been in heaven for the 35,674,962nd consecutive year of just absolute bliss, of perfection, somebody says, hey, how has your existence been? You're going to be like, man, it's been fantastic. And they're like, wait, but that 70, 80, 90, 100 years you lived on the earth, didn't you have some painful times? Weren't there some bad things that happened? You're like, oh yeah. But in the light of 35 million years, right, that I've been here in perfection, it pales in comparison. And so what I always tell people is this. Kind of crazy to think about this. Yeah. But to criticize God for not doing anything about suffering is like criticizing an author of a book for not wrapping up the loose ends of the book, but you've only read chapter 1. You don't criticize an author for loose plot ends when you've only read one chapter of a 30-chapter book. Okay, right? All right. I wasn't grasping what you were saying there. Right. I got you. Right? And what we got to realize is this life that we're living here on this earth, even if you live to be 100 years old, this is just chapter 1. And we can't fathom eternity. So 100 years, you mentioned that. It seems like a long time, but it's really nothing. Right? So God says, look, I will take care of sin, suffering, disease, death, even hell itself, once and for all. We have that promise. It is going to happen. And it has happened, and there's other parts that are going to happen. But we can't criticize him for that, because this is only chapter 1 of the book.
I really like, as you're saying this, I'm very ADD, as you said. So like, my brain's already going in other ways while I hear what you're saying. And one thing that came to mind is, say we have family, friends, loved ones in general that don't make it to heaven. When we're up there, are we gonna feel sad about that? Are we gonna be like, oh, I wish my so and so was here. I wish this person was here. Like, are we even gonna think like that, or are we gonna wake up miss them? Is that gonna be a thing? Because if it's so perfect and there's no suffering, then we're not gonna just forget about them, right?
Right. However, we will have clarity of mind like we've never had before. That we do know, and we'll be able to basically see and understand things. And so, if that must be
unlike we can't hear, like you're saying, we'll have like a greater knowledge. Well,
right. So essentially, we will be able to see the record book of other people's lives, and because God is a just and fair judge, and so we'll be able to see and understand all the decisions and thoughts and things that other people have, and look through it, and we'll have that determination of did God judge them fairly or not. Right. And our minds will go, yep, God was just here. Now there is, scriptures that talk that God will wipe away our tears. So there is that part of us, that compassion, like we talked about in one of the other videos, that we'll still have those feelings of compassion of that. Wow, my heart breaks that this happened. But again, we'll have a perfect understanding. So it won't be that we're mad at God or
like, why did you take this person? Or how we would sometimes blame God for loss here. So like when we're up there, essentially we're gonna have much more understanding of X person's life, and X is just saying, whoever it is. And then will the overpowering power of God kind of take away any of that sadness? Or is that a good way to put it?
Yeah, that's the way you said that reminds me of, like right now we're filming this and we got studio lights on and stuff, but outside right now it's actually daytime now, right? And the question I always ask people during the daytime is, well, what happened to the stars? Do stars like at night or during the daytime, do they disappear and then they reappear at nighttime? Or is that object there, a star, always there? It's always there, right? But why can't we see it? It's because a greater light makes it so that we don't see it.
Yeah. All right.
And so when we're in the presence of God, and Jesus says that He is the light, right? So when we're in the presence of that light, it's going to make everything else sort of dim in comparison.
Even a loved one not being with you in heaven. And then the thought of them being...
And even our relationship, even as good as what our relationship is, because again, we will have relationships with one another, and they're going to be great, but even those relationships are still going to pale in comparison to that we're in the presence of God. So,
wow. All right. I think that probably a good spot to end it. That was... Yeah, man.
I'm not. Again, I'm just one beggar who found some bread and telling other beggars where I found it.
Well, that's some good bread, man. That's some good bread. All right, guys. If you have any comments, any questions, feel free to leave them down below. I'm going to be answering them mainly to the best of my ability, but then if there's ever a question that I'm like, hey, Gilbert, can you help me out with this? So, yeah. Anyway, as always, guys, think big. God bless. We'll see you for the next one.
I think bink, it's true. I think bink, you should too.